Hi, everybody. Welcome to Conversations with Calvin, We the Species. So funny. I'm wearing a sweater. I'm wearing a sweater. Last week it was 90 degrees here in New Jersey. 90 degrees, and this morning 30 degrees. It's the craziest thing. Um, this is, there are interviews and there are interviews. This is an interview with Gal Ezra, and I've been digesting and learning and reading, his journey through life, through business, the things he's done. By the way, and I'm going to introduce you officially shortly, but by the way, this is a movie, Your
Thank you.
life is a movie,
Thank you.
it takes on even more, with the visas and this and that. I mean, your life is definitely a movie, and you're a young guy, so there's plenty more to come. So,
Yeah.
the world of business, the world of physical fitness, spirituality, the things you've done, the things you've accomplished, beyond, and we'll talk about that. And of course, what completely resonates with me is when you went to your dad for help because you needed help, and of course you expected, as I expected, by the way, a couple of bucks to help me and get me started. And your father said, "No money, but I'll give you knowledge." And to me,
Yes.
that is one of the most powerful things because I look back most as I mentioned to you, Gal, before we went on air, my mom gave me knowledge. And
Yeah.
it's all
Exactly.
up here. It's
Yeah.
all up here. I use it every day, literally.
Yeah.
So we're
Exactly.
going to talk about that. Your entrepreneurship, your mindset, the family relationships you have, the
We have a
spirituality in
lot to
your life,
cover.
your relationships, your new dad. I mean, all this stuff
Yeah.
we'll talk about. So
Okay.
my monologue is done. If you have a few opening comments you want to make, and then we will jump into your life and your story and your journey. Take it away.
Sure. Sure. I mean, I'm very happy to be here. Thank you for having me. Your story as well sounds absolutely fascinating. And yeah, for those listening to me for the first time, my name is Gal Ezra, and I'm on a mission to create 10,000 ethical millionaires. That's my mission, meaning being successful across every part of life. And that's what I do. Now, on the one hand, I'm a businessman, I'm an entrepreneur, and on the other hand, I know how to get other people to succeed, and I know how to solve problems that people are having in every category of life, which sounds like a bold statement, but the unique thing is that if I know one piece of truth, if it's truly true, it will apply to every part of life. So I can know a piece of truth in business. That piece of truth, if it's true, will apply to relationships, will apply to health, will apply to friendship, will apply to children, will apply to everything, if it's true. So everything I do, I say that if I teach something that isn't true in every part of life, you need to know that what I've said or what I've taught is either fully or partially nonsense, and you have the right to discard it because it's not true for every part of life. And that's what I do. I teach truth.
Okay.
And that's it.
Okay. Um, in my reading, because I've done my due diligence as a journalist, you say you always had a purpose to help.
Yeah.
When did you first feel that particular calling that you wanted to help?
At about 2 years old.
Well,
Yeah. Yeah. Right
okay.
around there. So at about two, I said, I want to work with my dad. I want to align with him and his purpose. And that's when it all started.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, you live between cultures and continents.
Yeah.
Truly, from South Africa to the United States and stuff.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
how has that multi-continent kind of thing in the cultures helped shape who you are?
Yeah, I think that throughout my life, I've always been around people from different cultures for different reasons, partially just due to being around my parents' friends. We traveled. I went to schools that had people from different cultures, and I lived between the ages of 0 and 10. We were flying between Cape Town, South Africa, to Florida, the Europe, Israel, where we have family. So the main benefit is that it gave me the ability to see more and more and more viewpoints. So I really uh, think that when somebody thinks that their viewpoint is correct, they are at that moment negating, throwing away, making every other viewpoint wrong. So for me, I never am locked on a viewpoint ever. I just know that my point of view is my current point of view and it can change. And I'm very, very open to understanding anyone's point of view, no matter how crazy. I'm open to understanding it. Doesn't mean I'll agree, but I can actually have another viewpoint. Whereas most people can't. Go to a Republican and tell them to have the viewpoint of a Democrat, or the other way around. Go to a Jewish person and tell them to have the viewpoint of the Palestinians. They can't. Or go to a Palestinian and tell them to have the viewpoint of a Jewish person. They can't. Or even go to a friend and tell them to have the viewpoint of another friend about how they should handle another person in their lives. Very difficult. People are locked on their way. And so if you think that you are right, then you have an option in your life. You have two options. Option A, to be right, or your other option is to be successful. If you want to be right, you don't have the right to be successful. You won't make it. If you want to be successful, you can't just be right. You're open to any viewpoint. You don't have to be right. So that's my general outlook. And one of the things that was maybe assisting in that in a very small way is being able to see other cultures.
It's interesting because what you just said, I'm older than
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Actually, these days I'm older than everybody I hang around.
Uh-huh.
One day I was in the middle of the pond there, and one day you wake up and all of a sudden you're the oldest person around. I just realized a couple months ago I'm the patriarch of the
Uh-huh.
family. I don't know how to wear that.
Yeah.
How could I possibly
Proudly.
be the patriarch? But what's interesting, what you just said, you don't have to be right. And I'm plugging my book. There's a tortoise in my hair, but several
Yeah.
times in here, I say there's not a shot in hell you're going to take somebody who's red and make them blue, or somebody who's blue or make them red. That'll never happen. But and I said that several times, and I learned, and I've lived that, and I've learned that, and I breathe it. But you learn to live and prosper within the world, which is what you just said. So, and it's very profound. It's
Yeah.
really, really profound.
I'll,
And
I'll
and
add to it a little bit though. I'll add to it. You know, you and me, we all are in a universe of change. This is a universe of change. And if you look around, you'll see that everything changes. Everything, everything changes. Would you agree?
oh yeah,
Okay.
and quickly. It used to be every 10 years. Now it's every 15
Yeah.
minutes.
Yeah. But yeah, exactly. And everything changes. Now, people realize, yes, everything changes, but they behave like nothing will change. So you have a upset and it's always going to be this way forever. I'm forever going to be this will never change. Or you have a friend who has a particular way of they don't agree with you and you think they're never going to agree with me. Or your wife, she has a different opinion and you think, when will she ever align with me? She won't. She will, or you will. Things change. So somebody red can become blue by the very fact that things change. So people can, but the only hope you have of assisting them is by not trying to change their viewpoint. It's by first understanding their viewpoint and actually enhancing their viewpoint. So they tell you, I think that black is the best color. And you say, well, my favorite color is purple. If you really understand, oh wow, I can see why black is the best color. Wow, let me really understand you more. And yes, you're right. It's so nice in this way, and it's so nice in that way. Wow. only then will they say, yeah, thank you. But I have liked purple at times. They will agree with you somehow in a small way. And that's how you can move people, not by manipulation at all, but by actually understanding them. So you can make somebody blue red or red blue. It just takes patience, and it actually takes not resisting them, but rather understanding them and knowing that things change, maybe slowly, maybe quickly, but things change.
I can understand that part. I
Yeah,
know, I talk about it all the time about change.
yeah,
And when I taught at Rutgers, I taught about change. And I see it, and I know we're changing every 15 minutes, and even that is going to be accelerated, with the whole AI thing. I understand that, but uh, 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 the red, the blue, it's I understand your part, and I understand my part, and there's a hybrid thing, and that's what you're talking about, and I understand that too,
yeah,
because
yeah,
we are in what was a typical like a Republican Democrat, that's going to change, and the whole definition is going to change of that. So yes, your
yeah.
part right this second, I'm not going to change. My wife, she's Republican, hypothetically. I ain't changing her this particular second. But in 10 seconds from now, hey, listen, the only thing that's real is right now. The only thing the
Uh-huh,
real in this universe right now, Gal, is you and me. That's it.
uh-huh,
You and me talking here. That's the only real thing. What happened 4 minutes ago is not real. What may happen in 4 minutes from now, not real. This is anyway, moving on.
yeah,
Moving on. This I find fascinating about you. At 19, you were stranded in South Africa. You kind of grew up here a bit in the States. So you were stranded in South Africa without a plan. What did that? I'm kind of curious because it's a very contemporary thing. People with visas and getting stranded. What did that feel like emotionally when you're stranded?
Oh, at the time it was horrible. I really, really, really was unhappy and hopeless, and really I had the wind just taken out of my sail completely, and it was a very low point in my life. So for people that don't know the story, I'll give you a very shortened version. I basically needed to renew my visa for the U.S. Because I was born in South Africa, I have a South African passport. I never really had an American passport. I never had one. I was always under my parents' visa and I was living in the US. At 19, you're no longer considered uh, under your parents' umbrella. So when I went to renew it, long story short, I got declined the renewal. Even though everything was legal, didn't overstay legally, nothing, but just normal process, went to renew, declined a couple of times. And I found myself back in South Africa alone because my parents got their approval. But because I wasn't under their visa, because I'm no longer under their umbrella, my parents, my brother and sister, they're in the US. And I'm stuck in South Africa. Like my grandparents were here. Luckily, I was living with them, but alone, basically alone. Knew a few people, but nothing serious. And just stuck. Like, when will I go back to all my friends, to my future, to my family, to my little brother and sister? When? And it ended up again. They said, "Look, it'll be 2 more weeks." It became a month. It became 3 months. It became 6 months. There was always this hope. Long story short, I only went back 3.5 years later.
Wow.
In that time, I would build a business. I would make tons of friends. I'd become very, very well known and popular here in terms of my circle. And that was it. It just everything took off. So I went from really being stranded and hopeless to creating a life here. And now I still live in Cape Town. I loved it so much. I ended up staying. And that disaster was the biggest blessing in disguise.
I mentioned it earlier in my monologue. When your dad refused to help you monetarily,
Yeah.
uh, and said, I'll give you knowledge, not money. What
Yeah.
did that feel like immediately emotionally when you heard that? I mean, he
Yeah.
was
So
obviously quite wise.
he was very wise. And he said to me, look, Gal, you need to understand something. He said, you know the story of the fish and the fisherman, and you can give a man a fish and he'll eat for a day, but you can teach him how to fish and he'll have fish for life. You know that story, yes? So I also said, yes, I know the story. He said, Gal, I think that that story is nonsense. And I said, what do you mean? It's a very famous story. You don't think I should learn how to fish? He said, no. Well, you need to learn how to learn anything. You need to know how to know. So if I teach you how to know, if I give you knowledge that applies to any part of life, then I don't confine you to just learning about how to fish. I don't confine you to a life of being a fisherman. Because you teach a man to fish, all he knows now is to be a fisherman. You've locked him into being a fisherman for the rest of his life. I can teach you how to know anything you want. And that way you can be a fisherman, or you can be an accountant if you want, or you can be an entrepreneur, or you can do whatever you want. And so I'm going to give you knowledge. I'm going to encourage you to learn. And I'm going to give you tools. And with those tools, you'll go, and with them, you'll go out there and you'll use them and you'll apply them and you'll build something. That's what he ultimately did. So it wasn't financial help, it was knowledge. And that's what helped me. And that's what I do for others now. I give them tools so that anyone can become an ethical millionaire.
Which I find we'll talk about that in a little bit. That
Yeah.
whole that whole thing about ethical millionaires. Boy, that's a one hell of a hot topic.
Yes.
Oof. In my novel, I wrote about the top 88 richest people in the world have more accumulated wealth than the poorest 3.5 billion. So there may
Yeah.
be something wrong with that a bit. We'll talk about that. Um,
Yeah.
I'm pulling out some words and listening to you and after your dad spoke to you and stuff, the words resilience and self-reliance. So these became part of you, didn't they?
Yeah. So definitely resilience and self-reliance is important, but it's really secondary to having knowledge, because knowledge gives you the ability on a step ladder to get to a point that you just know. So you have to understand that knowledge is actually really, really useless if it's not in the direction of knowing. So you get, let's take somebody who's learning to play guitar, and he gets a little bit of knowledge on how to play one chord, and then he gets some knowledge about how to play one song. And before that, he got knowledge about how to hold the guitar, and he got knowledge about how to tune the guitar, and he got all kinds of knowledge about different things and knowledge and knowledge and knowledge. And he walks around with a little mental encyclopedia of the knowledge he has about how to play guitar. One day, he just knows how to play. One day you just know. You just play. You don't need to check the encyclopedia of your past. You just know. And so you start to create. That is the only purpose of gaining knowledge, is to get to a point of, oh, I know. When you know, things become effortless. It's not an effort to play the guitar. So resilience and self-reliance and other great qualities are there due to knowing. If I didn't know, how could I be resilient? So many people go for being more resilient but they have lots of areas that they don't. I wish that they just had some knowledge or areas that the problem that people have is they know wrong. They have things that they know, but it's wrong. They operate off of what I call fake realities. A fake reality is a piece of knowledge that you're sure is right, but when you use it, it doesn't bring you the expected results. And people operate off these pieces of knowledge that they're sure about, they're so sure about, and they know it. It's totally wrong, but they don't suspect it's totally wrong, and it destroys them. So the whole key is to find those fake realities that people operate on that's hidden and handle those. And when those are handled, all of a sudden you see, wow, the person actually has a restored potential.
By the way, a point of information. If you see me, it looks like I'm writing. It's because I am writing.
I figured. It's
Yeah.
totally okay. Yes, I can
No, it
see.
is okay. I'm probably the only interviewer in America who actually takes notes.
It's
Well,
great.
it is great. I already got a one page on you already.
Okay.
So I take notes. Why? Because I write this stuff up, and it's just easier to take notes. So it's not because I'm not paying attention. It's because I am
I
paying
understand.
attention.
I
Um,
understand.
let's see if we can. Is there one particular greatest lesson that that your father taught you that entrepreneurs misunderstand?
Mhm.
And that's a powerful question. It could be a powerful
Yeah.
question.
Look, the main thing for entrepreneurs specifically is you must spend less than you make. You must spend. It sounds too simple. 1 cent less than you make it, and don't spend money unless you've made it. So some people will spend money before it's actually arrived. They anticipate the money coming. That's the number one lesson on the subject of entrepreneurship. If you are pedantic about being profitable and viable, meaning you spend less than you make, that's the number one lesson on entrepreneurship. You don't need to be a genius. You just need to understand that. In the subject of entrepreneurship, I would say that's the number one thing. And everyone says, yeah, 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 of course. Yeah, yeah, it's so simple. Yeah. But nobody does it. How do I know? Because people go out of business. They wouldn't go out of business if they applied it. Yet most companies fail. So that's the simplicity. And every temptation will tell you to spend a little more than you make right now because you're building, and this year we're going to make a loss, and blah, blah, blah. Unless there's a real strategic plan around the loss, which is done in a calculated way, and it's when there's growth in certain instances in a controlled manner, okay. But even then, it's it's based on the principle that we must be ultimately making more than we spend. And then the risk, by the way, those companies, most companies that say, yeah, we're going to take a loss this year because we're building, those companies, by the way, end up going out of business, most of them. So the bottom line, at least how I run my companies, is I don't spend more than I make. Simple. Now, everybody will say, yeah, yeah, I know it. Good, go apply it. Let's see you apply it. Let's see
Tough,
you live a life with no debt. Let's go
tough.
ahead.
That's a toughie.
Yeah, yeah,
It's a toughie. We could talk about that on another show.
yeah,
Yeah, certainly can.
yeah.
We talk about your dad. Let's talk about your mom. How did your mother's influence your emotional intelligence and relationships? Because your mother was a big part of this picture too.
Yeah, when it comes to raising me and my brother and sister, my mom did 99.9% of it. So she was the best mother. I was so beyond lucky to have her as a mom. And really credit so many of my good qualities, my interpersonal qualities, my general outlook on life to her. And she really raised us. My dad was a very, 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 very hardworking entrepreneur. He traveled all over. He did he was like 1 million miles on a few airlines, and one month he was in 32 countries in 30 days, like just traveling and working, and he would be home maybe few days a month because and not that he was at work, he was traveling the world working, 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 and we were 100% okay with it. It was never an issue. I never cared that he missed a show or a game or whatever because he explained to us, look, this is my role in the family. I'm providing, I'm going and doing these things. And he would always update us on what he was doing and what he did. And that, so we were supportive. And my mom was extremely supportive of him. And we just knew that, yeah, let's support that. And it's okay. I don't need him to be at every game. And so my mom was the one that really nurtured us. And she was the most relaxed mom you can imagine. Great guidance on everything, but very relaxed. Never worried, never gave us an idea that we can't do something. never forced us to do anything. Very, very, very free and and loving. Lots and lots and lots and lots of love. And so it was a very good set of ingredients that I had.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I look back on all that too, and how I raised my son, my wife and I. It was a composite of my wife's parents and my parents, and you put all that together and you shake it, and you bake it and you shake it,
Yeah.
and actually my next book is going to be dealing with the relationship that I have with my son, uh,
Uh-huh.
who's adopted, and that
Oh, wow.
part of it, yeah, that's my next book
Wow.
because it's a powerful book, but it's family and it's relationship. I
Yeah.
I auditioned for Donald Trump's. Um, he had a show. He had a show before, way before, The Apprentice. And I don't know if
Okay.
you know about it. You remember that show?
Yeah, of
Uh,
course.
yeah. So the second, the guy who won the first Apprentice was a Rutgers graduate. I'm a Rutgers graduate, and through my
Uh-huh.
connections and stuff, I found out that the next show they're gonna do. They're having auditions. Some of the auditions were at Rutgers University, uh,
Yeah.
and they only and usually by then, when people found out they're having an audition for Donald Trump's Apprentice, there was like 10,000 people would show up like in New York and lined up around the block to
Yeah.
audition. But the thing at Rutgers is only 125 people. I was number 125. And what you had to do, you had to write a couple of essays. And
Okay.
one of the essays was, and I quote, "What is your best accomplishment in business and or academia?" And
Yeah.
here's what I wrote. And here's what I wrote in my essay. I didn't think they under. I'm certain they didn't understand. But I wrote a few months ago. My son, who was at Rider University, called me up and asked me, "What are you doing Saturday night, Dad? Why don't you come down and hang out with me and the fraternity guys?" And that is what I wrote in my essay is my greatest accomplishment because I had a son who was comfortable enough with me to invite me to
Yeah.
hang out with the fraternity guys on campus.
Wow.
And
Yeah, that's special.
that was so hugely special. That was my greatest accomplishment. Uh,
Oh, wow.
yeah, which it's kind of what it's kind of what you're saying. Anyway, moving
Yes.
on. So you built your first multi-million dollar company by the age of your 25. What did you understand then that others miss in similar type situations to build this business, which, by the way, is still doing really well, correct?
Yep, it's still running. I've sold my shares in it recently. I have a few shares left, but I needed to move on to other things that I'm building. And it was a good time after many years. But what I understood was that it takes, first of all, a lot of work and a lot of time. And it's totally okay to start small and build 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 for many years. As long as it's generally growing and growing and growing and growing, it's totally fine if it starts small. It should. It should. And you've got to persevere for years. And it takes a lot of work. And it's bumpy and it's on you for a long time. It's not just, oh, I need to do it myself for a few months and hire. No, you often have to do it all yourself for a while before you hire. You basically need to be in it for the long haul and be patient. Patiently building while working really, really hard. So don't be patient about the small things that need to be done now. Do those quickly. But the big things take time, years, and you need to be patient on those and build, build, build in a small way quickly. So that's what I learned. It took, it takes 5 years before I could take a breath for a second and see, okay, we're kind of like in a good place.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I know all about that. kind of stuff. I've dabbled. Uh, I've dabbled. And that's what fascinates me, with your journey and what you've accomplished at such a young age, and these are difficult waters these days to accomplish things. Um, did you have any kind of a failure along the way, and if so, did it teach you anything? We all
I
have
mean, I would
failures.
say, yeah, I would say I had small, various things that didn't go as well or that weren't as profitable, or I do finance deals, little things that there was losses along the way, or different directions that, oh, those weren't so good. But failure to me is something, is an event. Failure is a moment when you go, that's it, I've given up. I've stopped. So in a way, it's not one specific event that, oh, this happened, I failed. The event is a moment when you say, I'm stopping. Oh, I've given up. That's the failure. So when I did, speaking of an event, I'm using a different term now. We did events. That was what my original business, festivals. We had different events that some did really well and some didn't do as well. Knock on wood, we never lost money on an event, which is a miraculous statement to say.
Yeah,
Doing festivals, like unbelievable track record. But that, we got to the point where it was basically break even, or we got to the point that we thought that a particular new event brand would do really well and it didn't do as well. I had moments like that. I had times that certain uh, partnerships maybe didn't go as smoothly as I hoped. There's things like that. Then, I transitioned into finance deals. As I said, I did finance deals where I lost money, and yeah, for sure. And then you learn, whoa, what did I do wrong with this? How can I prevent that from happening again? So there was moments like that, but none of them were like, wow, that's it. I failed. You get what I mean? Like I'm at the end here. I'm on my knees, white flag, can't continue. And knock on wood, I'm sure that there will be some businesses that are like, well, we're done. I'm sure there'll be some directions that don't go well, and that's okay. It's just a game, but I'll never consider it as the break. It'll just be, okay, we continue, play another game. And that's my viewpoint.
okay. Um, Before we move on to something I really I've got to know more about ethical millionaires. Before that, I
Yeah,
just go off topic a little bit. And here's a question I always like to ask. So, excluding family or friends, somebody living or dead you'd like to spend a day with. It could be one or two. There's no rules.
yeah. Excluding family or friends.
Excluding family or friends, somebody living and dead you'd like to spend a day with.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, the first person that for whatever reason came to mind, I would say would be Michael Jackson. I would love to get to see what was really going on there. Huge being, huge ability to communicate, surrounded by many, many snakes in his life, many terrible people that destroyed him. So I would really
Great
be
answer.
interested in seeing what was going on there and what does such a talent have, and I would mainly love to help him.
Correct.
Yeah,
It's funny. I saw a video with Michael Jackson dancing. I watched some reels in the morning just to kind of get myself flowing,
yeah.
and he was dancing with oh gosh, the guy from Bohemian Rhapsody. Oh
Oh
shoot.
yes, yeah. From Queen, Freddie
Yeah,
Mercury.
yes, correct. Yeah, Freddie Mercury. The two were dancing together. I didn't know that they knew each other, but there they were. This morning I was watching that.
Yeah,
And they both kind of moved the same way, and it was kind of interesting. But there was Michael Jackson. But anyway, good answer. All right, moving
yeah.
on. What does an ethical millionaire look like?
Okay.
And it is that uh Is that a real term? Is there such a thing as an ethical millionaire? I don't know. You
Of
know,
course.
just okay, tell me.
Okay. So basically, the number one common denominator, the main common denominator for all life forms is that we're trying to survive. Life is trying to survive. That's the common denominator. From the elephants in Africa to the fish in the sea to the blade of grass that pokes its way through the concrete to human beings. We want to survive. And the definition of the word survive is to continue over time, ideally pleasurably, ideally well, ideally expanding. Okay? So we want to continue over time well. But if you take a magnifying glass and you look at the word survive, okay, or at the topic of survive, and you really look, what is that made up of? You'll see that it's made up of 8 parts. We want to survive in 8 different ways, 8 sections of life. And the first one is that you want to survive well as just yourself, first of all. You as an individual, your hobbies, brushing your teeth, getting dressed in the morning, working out, doing things that you enjoy. It's one way that you want to survive. Another way that you want to survive is through the family. We want to survive through family, through procreation. That's another part of survival. There's this expansion into not just me, but the family and so forth. The next way we want to survive is through groups that we're a part of. We're a part of many different groups. It can be a small group, your soccer team. It can be your business. It can be a set of people with a common purpose. Everyone going from New York City to LA on the airplane. We're a group. And at that time, we want to survive together as a group. And it can be wider. It can be a group of people, like a race or a religion, like all the Jewish people or all the Muslim people. Okay? Above that, we want to survive as mankind, where you might have races as different sections or different groups. Mankind is everyone. And we have a purpose to survive as what's best for everyone as mankind. Then we want to survive through life forms, plants and animals. Without the plants and animals, we won't survive. And that can go from the trees and the fish in the sea to your dog or your cat, your pet. We want to survive through the physical world around us. Okay, literally the physical things, the walls, the car, the phone, the microphone, the TV, the monitor, the bottle that holds your water, the physical things around you. You want to survive as a spirit, and you want to survive through the supreme being, whatever that means for your religion or way of thinking, okay? This idea of infinity. So there are these 8 parts that we want to survive through. And how you know if something is ethical is by understanding the term right and wrong. People, if you ask them, what does the word right mean? It's a very tricky question for people. And I've asked many, many, many people that question. How do you know if something is right? And I'll just give your listeners a moment to pause on that question. And, most people tell me, oh, what I feel, or if it's good for me, or many different things. But the way to actually know if something is right, by the way, some people say there's no way to know if something is right. There is. How you know if something is right is you check those 8 parts of life and you see, does it do more good or more harm to those parts of life? By numbers, by a majority. So if somebody comes to me and says, hey, Gal, do you want to sell drugs? And it can make me money, which will be good for me individually, maybe a little bit of good for the family, which is another part, but that will destroy many other families, many, many groups. It's not good for mankind. It's terrible for the spirit. It's terrible for the physical world. It hurts many, 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 many areas of life. So it's wrong. It's the wrong thing to do. It's not right. If somebody says, hey, Gal, I have a cure that kills one person but saves a million, is it right? Yes, it's right. Because saves a million versus kills one is right. It's a numbers game. So the right thing to do is the thing that by majority creates more good for more of those parts. If you are ethical, you are doing what is more right within your group, within that group that you're a part of. You're behaving according to what will bring the most good to those parts of life. That's being ethical. That's what ethical means. You're doing the right thing, meaning good for those parts of life within the group that you're a part of. So when I say an ethical millionaire, I mean someone who is successful, meaning, yes, bring in the money. The money is just a sign of how much you help. If you help a lot, you'll get paid a lot. How much do you help? I want it to be in the millions, but with growth and expansion across more and more and more of those parts of life. And by the way, some people that I work with are not looking to be millionaires. I work with housewives. Okay, your purpose is not, your measure is not the money, but I want you to be a millionaire in smiles from your kids and appreciation from your family and doing good for anyone you touch and helping the school that your kids are in and whatever. Bring in lots of prosperity. That's what I'm looking for. But generally speaking, for most people, they do want to grow a business. They do want to flourish in all parts of life. That's what I'm after when I say being an ethical millionaire.
Okay. Um, I like this question. Can wealth and spirituality coexist?
They must. They must. But most people cannot define what the spirit even is, so they have a confusion around spirituality. But for those that understand it, or we can, of course, go into defining it and get into that conversation if we have time. But the it's a must. You know, I tell people my business is called Guaranteed Prosperity. Okay, what we do is we basically everything we do, we guarantee the results. I have a guarantee that I say, let's say you work with me and you pay me $10,000. If I don't bring you the results that you want, not that I say, that you want from this, I don't just give you a money back guarantee of $10,000. I give you back 100% money back guarantee plus 10% for wasting your time. So we have 110% money back guarantee. If you pay me $10,000 and it doesn't get you the results that you want, you get back 110%. You get back $11,000. So because I wasted your time, yes. So basically everything we do is guaranteed. We have three main pillars that we help people with: business, everything around business, how to sell, how to market, how to build a business from scratch, how to hire, how to fire, how to organize, a whole thing around business. We have a family academy, which has been delivered to over 1 million people around the globe. The Family Academy is about how to have good relationships between parents and children, parents, and relationships in general. And we have a whole section on mindset and spirituality. Okay? Your question, can wealth and spirituality go together? Well, I'll tell you this. If I only teach you business, only business, I won't guarantee your results. Don't come to me with a guarantee. Don't ask for my guarantee. But if I can teach you spirituality and business, I can guarantee it any day of the week. Come to me for my guarantee. No problem. It must go together. Why? Because a business, your wealth, what's a business? The business is an individual. It's a person. There's a leader. And by the way, there's other people, your staff. So it's people. If the person is in a terrible condition, if a business owner goes crazy or gets worried or has caves in or whatever, it's gone. If the person knows the rules, the principles of the game of life, if they understand spirituality, now let's go build a business. Let's put you in an excellent condition so that whatever you touch blossoms. And so the answer to your question, they must go together.
I like that. And that's why I took 5 years out sitting in this chair for 5 years. I actually wore out a chair. I
Wow.
literally wore out the arms to write a book about a journey to spirit. Uh,
Mm,
um, um, because of the events in my life are so powerful, and spirituality exists. We all have it. The problem is most of us don't. We don't take that antenna and put it up there to receive if you do, you're going to get. But we're all so busy. Most of us are busy in our lives, and we all are gifted. Nobody's singled out and not gifted. We're all gifted with spirit. We just never use it, at least in my
It's
view.
not that you are gifted with spirit. It's not that you don't use it. You are a spirit. How can you be gifted with what you are? You are. It's it. That's it. It's like imagine I say to this bottle of water, you're gifted. I tell the water, not the bottle. I tell the water, water, you're gifted with water. It is water. What do you mean it's gifted with water? I don't go to a Ferrari and say you're gifted with a Ferrari. It is a Ferrari. So it's not that you need to tap into anything or that you need to be gifted it. You are it. You are a spirit that has a body and you carry a mind. So you are a spirit. The problem is that people don't know what that word even means. They cannot define the word spirit. And you need to know that if you cannot define something, and when I say you, I don't mean you, Calvin, I mean the listeners. If you cannot define something, you don't know it. If you can't give me a definition like that, boom, this is what it means, you don't know it. If there's any, oh, well, spirit, complicated word, let me think for a moment. Ooh, you don't know it. So the confusion for people is they look for being spiritual, but they don't know what it is. So how can you find what you don't know what it is?
Well, when I say gifted, I mean I was gifted in that I was able to discover it. I was gifted to be able to know that it's there. We all have it within us, meaning is exactly what you said. We all have spirit. We are spirit. I was gifted because I was taken to explore that and to help it grow me in my world. So that's the
Yeah,
gift part. I was
yeah,
gifted. Maybe it's luck,
yeah.
whatever it is. I say I was gifted.
Very good. No, you're very aware. You're a very aware person. You're very, very aware, and you care, and so you look and you really want to understand, which is really
Yeah.
amazing.
Truly, and it's been quite a journey. Anyway, moving on. Let's
Well done.
talk about. Thank you. We'll talk about some relationships and marriage and stuff. Um,
Yeah.
what have you learned about communication in marriage? Because that's hugely important. It's probably not a
Where
hell of a
have I
lot
learned it, or
different.
what have I learned? Was
What
the
have you
question
learned?
where or what? Oh,
Uh,
what have I learned? Yes.
yeah, what have you learned from communication in marriage? Yeah, how long are you married? You're pretty
I've been
recent.
married 6 years, together for 11.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
And there's a new baby.
And I have a 14-month-old. Yes,
Right?
yes.
Nothing
Yeah,
Nothing in the world like it.
nothing.
Nothing
Indescribable.
in the world like
Nope.
it. And
Yeah.
uh, my journey to become a parent was not an easy journey. It wasn't traditional. It
Uh-huh.
was filled with operations and all kinds of stuff, and in vitro, and eventually adoption. So
Yeah.
it was a difficult, difficult journey, which is part of the energy where I wrote my novel because I deal with that, in my novel,
Yeah.
and even a greater gift is the fact that I'm a grandparent now. Uh,
Wow. Yeah. I
uh,
can't imagine that feeling. Ah,
it
I
is
hear it's better
beyond.
than being a parent, some people
By
say.
the way, it is. You know what?
Yeah.
It is because it's
Yeah.
it's all quality time and
Yeah, exactly.
pure quality time. It's wondrous, magical stuff, and I want to write about that. And it's even better when they live, like a mile away. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just there's nothing, just the gift of seeing the learning and the knowledge and the growing every day. It's
Wow.
good stuff. So, what have
Wow.
you learned?
Yeah. So what I've learned. So relationships are something that you create. You must create it. You must put it there. It doesn't just happen. It's constantly created. It's a created thing. Okay? And there's a very interesting question around what's the purpose of a relationship? Why a relationship? Why do we need that? What's the purpose? And the truth is that the purpose of a relationship is just to maximize the other person's potential. That's your purpose, okay? Now, a marriage happens to be a very efficient mechanism within society to flourish. It's just a subgroup in society that you have. Marriage is a legal thing, okay? Just marriage is a legal thing. The love is different. So love is the definition of the word love is the urge to be together for no reason at all. If there's a reason that you love someone, it's not love, it's a business deal. It's a transaction. So there's no reason. It's just, I love you. I want to be with you for no reason at all. But what defines a relationship? We said what the purpose is, but what is a relationship? A relationship is a connection between two people that's clean and pure. That's it. Cleanliness. Anybody that's watching can go online and look on YouTube at gauge blocks. Look up what a gauge block is. Gauge, gauge block. Okay? What you'll find is a gauge blocks are these very small cylinders of metal, made of metal, and they use them to measure in machinery. It's used for measurements. So they stack many of them together, and they know that this gauge block is 1 inch long. And so when they put them together, and there's 10 of them, they know this is a 10-inch space, okay? But then how do they put the gauge blocks together? It's very interesting. The gauge blocks are put together not by any adhesive, not by any magnet, not by any mechanism of attachment. Though it's very fascinating. The gauge blocks have very smooth edges, extremely smooth. Think of it like they're metal blocks. So think of it like a very, 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 very polished metal. And you take the metal and you touch it together, and they stick hard, hard. No magnet. There's no magnet. They stick
Wow.
because it's so clean that they just stick together. It's fascinating. You
Wow.
can look it up.
Wow.
That is exactly what happens with a relationship. A relationship sticks together between two people when the connection is clean. And as time goes, just like in a gauge block, when dirt enters in between, it doesn't stick anymore. And every relationship, without exception, has dirt that builds up over time. And so there's a mechanism. It's what we teach in the Family Academy that we have, that I told you, that's been delivered to over 1 million people, of how do you handle that dirt. And any relationship can be healed. And the fascinating thing is that while it takes two people to destroy a relationship, it takes only one person to fix it. So if one person improves their condition, the others improve automatically. It's really fascinating and almost unbelievable, but it works.
Um, this can go both ways. Business, how does business success affect the relationship? Obviously, if you're successful, it probably it's pretty it's pretty easy
Yeah,
question. But the
yeah,
converse of that is some business successes, business failures, or
yeah.
unsuccesses may hurt. Can it?
No, your relationship is first. So the condition of the relationship will determine what's going on with the business. If the business hurts, but the relationship is strong, irrelevant. If the business wins and the relationship is weak, it won't win for long. So the condition of the relationship determines the growth. In fact, I told you about those 8 parts of life. You will have a glass ceiling, some kind of a limitation based on whatever is the lowest point of those 8 parts of life. Whatever is the lowest will limit the rest. Very interesting.
You you integrate. Um, we talked about it a little bit here and there. You integrate spirituality with business. It's not a common thing. And do those worlds get together well?
Yeah,
Spirituality and
it's a
business.
must. Yeah, 100%. Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Because again, what is a business? It's an individual that's doing certain actions in this game of life. And when you understand what's going on with this game of life, you see that the obstacles, the way it's structured, the whole thing is actually under your control, and you can play a game. You can play the game. Yes, there's parts that aren't under your control, like any game, and it's okay. But you can bring about results. Let's just say, without going too long into it, because I actually have to run in a few minutes, Calvin. So I
Okay.
won't go too deep.
All right. Yeah. All right. Then I'm gonna the time element. I'll kind of wind down,
Okay.
which means you can come back and we can talk more about this for sure.
Yeah.
Um, um, all right. My last question then.
Sure.
All right. My last question, and I will invite you to come back because
Thank
there's
you.
a lot more to talk about. So,
Yeah.
if your 14-month-old newborn child watches this interview 30 years from now, what would you want them to hear?
Yes, I would want her to hear that she is extremely powerful, that I'm sure she's already demonstrated that. I have no doubt about it. And that all the only thing that I've ever wanted for her was for her to be self-determined, self-governing, to do what she believes, or I should say knows, is right. What she wants to do towards a specific end result, that's all I care about. I don't care about my ideas or my wife's ideas of what's right or how we think she should be governed or acting or doing. I totally trust my daughter to do what she determines to be right. That's all I care about more than anything. So I'm totally sure that she is a self determined woman, which is the paramount thing. I'm totally sure that she's maximized her own potential. And I'm totally sure that she maximizes the potential of every single person she meets and interacts with, that she improves society with anywhere she goes. That's all. Simple.
Nicely said.
Yeah.
Contact places people can find you.
Yes. So you can find me on social media, Gal A Ezra, GALAEZRA, all platforms. I post very useful content every day, tips about relationships, mindset, business. If you want something free, some way that you can start with high value for free, go to our website, gprosperity.com. On the homepage, you'll see 9 categories. Pick one. G stands for guaranteed. gprosperity.com. Pick one category and you'll get guaranteed help on that subject. You'll hear things you've never heard anywhere. Anywhere. Different things. Be prepared. It's going to be different. But if you listen to it, if you apply it, it will work. And all I care is that it works. I want workable. I don't want complicated. I don't want fancy sounding. I don't want popular. I don't want what you like. I want workable. If it's workable, I'll use it. And that's what you'll get, workable tools.
Perfect. This was great. And I'm so
Thank
glad
you.
we connected. This took a while to
It,
put together. I thank you, thank you, thank you. And
absolutely.
invite you to come back.
Thank
I'd
you.
love
I
to
hope so.
do panels and whatever. Come back.
Yeah.
This was wonderful. I'm going to
Thank
stop
you.
recording. Thank you, thank
Okay.
you. Don't leave.
My
We'll do a
pleasure.
2-minute wrap. Thank you,
Okay.
Gal, especially down there in South Africa. It's a long way from
Yeah.
Jersey. No,
Yeah.
truly. Thank you. Stop. I'm stopping recording. Don't
Thank
leave.
you.